Good afternoon, I'm Herman Green with the Midday News. A special welcome to those of you watching on onespotmedia.com. A reminder as well that you can download our One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1, followed by the word Spot Media. A retired police sergeant identified as Trevor Williams was found dead in his Toyota Corolla motor car in Bowden, Stony Hill, St. Andrew this morning. His body was discovered shortly before 7 o'clock with several gunshot wounds. His licensed firearm was also missing. A colleague who served with him in the Jamaica Constabulary Force for most of his career says Mr. Williams retired in November last year and began spending time on his farm in Bowden Hill area. His colleague says he last spoke to Mr. Williams about 6:30 Thursday evening in Mona Park, where he cautioned him to be careful. It's understood that Mr. Williams received a Medal of Gallantry in the 1980s when he challenged 3 gunmen on a bus traveling along Dunrobin Avenue. Mr. Williams was shot in the incident, but he also managed to shoot the gunman who later died. During his time in the Jamaica Constabulary Force, Mr. Williams worked in the Flying Squad and the St. Andrew North Police Division. After more than 24 hours of searching, the Clarendon police say they have found the head of a body that was discovered on a farm in Peace River on Wednesday. Reports indicate that shortly after 7 Wednesday morning, the headless body, believed to be that of 73-year-old farmer Cleveland McDonald, was found on his farm in Peace River. The brother of the deceased says his brother visited him earlier.
About 20 minutes or so. Me hear somebody call me say the cow drive down. So I wake my son and then I call him and say, man, jump out of the house and come here. He said, Bertie drop down, cow drop down, Bertie. So take care and run ground there so go see if you could take him up so we can't get him by doctor. By the time I step out, somebody tell me say no bar no head.
The gruesome death has left residents and other farmers in the community in shock.
Because it could happen to any one of we as farmers. Any one of we could happen to. Any one of we could happen to. We fear for go bush now. Because we used to see this on TV about in the forward, but we come right now we yard now. Right now we house. Why he beat me.
There are renewed concerns this afternoon about the number of social cases taking up resources at some of the country's health facilities. Social cases refer to patients who have been discharged from hospitals but remain there because they have nowhere to go. Chairman of the Savile Hospital, Eric Clark, says the large number of social cases poses a challenge for the hospital because there are inadequate bed spaces. TVJ's Shamela Mitchell reports.
At one point, 60% of patients on male surgical floor at the Savile Hospital in Westmoreland were social cases. Health officials at the hospital say it seems more men have been abandoned by relatives when compared to the women.
It's sad to say that people have abandoned their families, and it's becoming more and more common. Our security now have to be on the lookout for those that come in with a suitcase, with a young fellow who just leaves them at the front door, drops the suitcase and runs out. We have to watch it. But it really is, yes, we want to look after them, but we don't have the bed space, and it's causing a lot of problems not having that bed space.
Chairman at the hospital, Eric Clark, says that does not mean the hospital wants to abandon those patients too, which is why in the past measures have been taken by the hospital to encourage these social cases to go back home. However, when they go home, arrangements have been made for nurses to visit with medication if they need it.
One day I went up to the ward and I saw a group playing dominoes. And I really wasn't sure what was happening, whether it was staff or what. So I immediately called Dr. Doyle. I said, how can we be playing dominoes on a medical ward? And he said, no, that's part of the social aspect with the social cases.
Meanwhile, Mr. Clark says he has spoken to Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton about the matter. Mr. Clark said the Health Minister plans to partner with the local government ministry, who is responsible for social cases, to see how best they can address the problem going forward.
Where the current infirmary is has space to do another building, and No Food for the Poor are listening to me keenly. But I think the solution is that we're going to need another building there to do it. And I just want to say, we do care about the social cases.
Shamela Mitchell, TVJ News.
The cardiac center at the Bustamante Hospital for Children has been completed and 2 cases have been successfully carried out so far. This was disclosed by Minister of Health Dr. Christopher Tufton following a launch of the unit earlier this week at the Children's Hospital.
And from all indications, it seems as if we will have this very important, one-of-a-kind facility here in Jamaica in full throttle in the months to come.
The minister, however, noted that there is still a good distance to go for the completion of the project.
We still have a little ways to go in terms of the cath lab, which we anticipate we should complete early New Year, certainly maybe the first month, maybe the second, but not too long after that, which would enable us therefore to have a fully operational, integrated 10-bed ICU facility supported by an operating theatre dedicated to pediatric cardiac cases and a cath lab to do the additional support.
In the meantime, Executive Director of the Jamaica Children's Heart Center, Fabian Brown, says the center is of critical importance for the island.
It is critical because presently the waiting list grows. And with the challenge that the Bustamante Hospital for Children now faces in terms of space and resources and capacity, to have a dedicated space for an intervention such as responding to the heart conditions among our children, not only just for Jamaica but for the Caribbean, it is very critical that there's focused attention in this area. Today we can see that the center is coming alive, and the doctors will tell you that it is heartening to be able to see that we are making a dent in the list that exists.
The number of HIV cases in St. James has been stable since 2011. That announcement was made by the Western Regional Programs Manager for Jamaica AIDS Support for Life, Tyrone Ellis. Speaking to TVJ News recently, Mr. Ellis noted that the current ratio of men to women living with HIV is 55 to 45. But he hastened to point out that not enough persons who know their status are taking advantage of the treatment options that are available.
Not enough persons who know their status are in care, are on medication, and that is the problem we're having. Just maybe half of the persons who know their status are on medication, and that is the issue.
Mr. Ellis had this word of caution for young people.
I would like to tell young women, young men, I can't say don't have sex, but it's a matter of knowing your risk and protecting yourself. Know that if you have sex without a condom, there is a likelihood it may not be HIV, it can be on any other STI. So it's a matter of assessing your risk and be manageable with your life and understand that, okay, if I have sex with a condom, there's a possibility that I can catch a STI.
It's estimated that 32,000 persons are living with HIV, and as many as 50% are unaware of their status in Jamaica. The most urbanized parishes have the highest accumulative number of reported cases. Kingston and St. Andrew, 1,570.1 cases per 100,000 persons, and St. James, 2,094.6 HIV cases per 100,000 persons. Come February 2018, residents of Lawrence Tavern in St. Andrew can expect to see work being done in their community as the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation begins to enhance town centres in the municipality. Mayor of Kingston, Delroy Williams, and Councillor for the Lawrence Tavern Division, John Myers, along with other members of the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, visited the area on Wednesday.
I want to move these shops and give them a better shops for them to sell. Open up the square, move these two walls, and make it comfortable for people to sell and people to buy.
Mr. Williams says the project may take some extensive work, but the municipal corporation is looking forward to enhancing the economic growth of Lawrence Tavern.
I'm looking at the town, it's busy, it's active, and we need to put in the facility to enhance activity in the town, put in infrastructure, and it's part of our general plan of upgrading our towns, of creating economic activity within the town centres of Kingston and St. Andrew, and Lawrence Tavern is one such town that we are looking at. We have members from the City Engineers Department. We have an architect here, so first we'll do the design, and as soon as we're finished with the design, we'll do the costing.
Students and teachers of the Bromley Primary School in St. Mary were forced to suspend classes this morning as parents and community members locked the school gate and blocked the entrance, preventing them from accessing the property. The protest comes as parents are reportedly upset about the proposed selection for a new principal at the institution. They believe another teacher is more suitable.
Because Miss Matthews there for 25 years. And she deserve it now.
Yesterday, my son graduated from case with honors, and I'm Miss Matthews' baby. No Matthews, no school. If it's not Matthews, it must be a man. We don't want no more fractal here.
I have investigated the thing, and when we find out Miss Matthews' performance is up there to standard, she get passes from Mirzai, Mirmount, Calabar. So why is it now that they want to move Miss Matthews? As long as Miss Matthews is not here, the school now go continue to function properly.
With administrators unable to access the school grounds, the police were called in, but they were not able to open the gates as the protesters put new locks on them. The cops say they have been trying to persuade the residents to settle their issues in a more appropriate manner, but the residents have not been cooperating.
We are trying to do it in an amicable way. I have the chairman, Miss Gill, there talking to the parents. I have the acting principal, Miss Matthews, talking to the parents, and we are hoping for good that some sense of reasoning will come to the parents that they will allow the gates to be open.
And it's time now for our Fact or Fiction feature. Fact or Fiction. The famous local Bamboo Avenue is located in St. Thomas, Jamaica. Find out the answer at the end of the sports segment of the Midday News. In news overseas, Special Counsel Robert Mueller has charged former Trump National Security Advisor Michael Flynn with willfully and knowingly making false, fictitious, and fraudulent statements to the FBI regarding conversations with Russia's ambassador. For more, we go to the CNN.
He was taken into custody. He was charged this morning. The special counsel filing this one charge in an information with the U.S. District Court here in Washington, and it relates to his conversation with the former Russian ambassador, Sergei Kislyak. Remember, there was a lot of scrutiny concerning that conversation. The FBI subsequently interviewed him following that conversation. They interviewed him in January, and it is the statements that he made to them during that interview in January that they are now saying he lied to FBI agents about the nature of that conversation. Also, you recall it was the former Attorney General Sally Yates who raised issues about this conversation. She went to the White House, raised issues with the chief counsel there, Don McGahn, saying that she had some concerns about the nature of those conversations. Well, we now learn that the FBI has charged him, believes that he had lied to them, and the special counsel has charged him with lying to the FBI about that conversation.
And we go now to sports. The battle for corporate area schoolboy football supremacy will be on the line this evening when four-time champion Jamaica College take on surprise package St. Andrew Technical at 6 p.m.
The Primetime Sports Issa Flow Schoolboy Football Preview.
When the opening whistle goes off on Friday evening inside the National Stadium for the final in the Issa Flow Manning Cup, reigning champions Jamaica College will go in chase of their 5th consecutive title and the 28th overall. Despite a season of mixed fortunes, the Miguel Coley-coached outfit is optimistic about their chances of retaining the title.
We're feeling pretty confident. As I said, we know we are cognizant of the fact it's a tough game and it's a finals too. But I believe that the boys are G'd up for the game, and I think they will go out there and give a good performance.
But the former champion St. Andrew Technical, who lifted their only title 30 years ago, will not go down without a fight as they are beaming with confidence ahead of their encounter.
Well, we're going up against a very good team tomorrow, and what we expect is for the boys to carry out coaching instruction, to stick to what we have practiced and our game plan going into that match.
Both teams have met twice so far this season, playing out 1-1 scorelines on both occasions, but they are least concerned with past results.
expecting a tough game, even tougher than the last two games. I believe they're a team that have evolved into a better team. So I'm expecting a tougher game. We have also evolved as a team, and we're getting better. And the finals is just the final combination of what we have been doing over the season in terms of putting good performance on the pitch.
The Bumper Hall-based Stats are seeking to break a 30-year drought, and there are high expectations from their school community and the surrounding areas. So, is there any pressure to deliver victory in the grand finale?
After the 90 minutes tomorrow, if we're to become champions, it would be a very great feeling. Right now, the feeling in the school is one of a lot of admiration, school pride, and that's the case long before we even reach this stage. So winning the final tomorrow will definitely boost that 100-fold.
Since taking over at Jamaica College in 2013, Miguel Coley has won all trophies on offer, and he's well aware of the strong defensive unit Stats have at their disposal.
And this one is tough too, because we're playing against a very tough team, St. Andrew College. So it's going to be very tough, but I believe we're confident and we're working hard in terms of minimizing the things that they do well on the football pitch and scoring goals against them.
We're silently confident about what we can do. Long before we reach the stage, the guys were confident in what we had. We knew what we had long before the season started, and reaching the final, we think is just a fitting end to the amount of work and the ability that we have.
It's the first time in 21 years that the Manning Cup final will be played on a Friday. TVJ Sports Network and Hits 92 FM will both have live commentary starting at 5:55 p.m.
The Primetime Sports Issa Flow Schoolboy Football Preview.
And finally this afternoon, the answer to our Fact or Fiction feature. We ask, Fact or Fiction, the famous local Bamboo Avenue is located in St. Thomas, Jamaica. Well, it's fiction. In fact, Bamboo Avenue, more popularly known as Holland Bamboo, is located in the main South Coast Highway between Middle Quarters and Lacovia in the parish of St. Elizabeth. The avenue was planted out with Bambusa vulgaris, a species of bamboo which was the largest variety introduced to Jamaica. The avenue is approximately 2.5 miles long, with the tall bamboo forming a canopy over it. And that wraps up the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. Join us at 7 for the Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.